Well, time now for sport. A bit of a sad occasion because David's here with his last Friday broadcast. He's decided to leave us next week, David.
Now, if you had told me that, I could have done a little calculation, worked out how many Fridays I've done. I think I worked out I've got through about 60 league managers in my time since I've been doing this job. But you're also going to ask me about the weather and the effect it's had on the football matches, aren't you?
I've almost lost the will now, David. But yeah, okay.
Anyway, as expected, we've lost Bristol Rovers match at Bradford. Fans will at least appreciate an early call on that one. At present, that's the only casualty, but they're bound to be more tomorrow at some point. So, as I say, keep in touch with the BBC Sport online site and your BBC local radio station. Swindon Town will, of course, be very keen to maintain their momentum after a win over Yeovil on Tuesday. Victory tomorrow at home to Notts County could take them to the top of League One. Yeovil will be pleased their match at Carlisle looks almost certain to be on despite the weather, as they hope to get back into the playoff places after Tuesday's defeat. And Cheltenham travel to Barnet as they continue their battle for promotion.
Let's go and find out what's happening at the county ground in the early stages, shall we? Swindon against Notts County. Both, of course, got relatively recent appointments in terms of managers there. Kevin MacDonald at Swindon and Chris Kiwomya at Notts County. What's it been like in the early stages, Paul?
Well, we've had a bit of a stoppage already, Jeff, because Gary Liddell got injured. Roberts went down the left-hand side, crossed it in, and I couldn't quite see who went in and made the challenge, but I think it was a clash of heads. So Liddell's been down for the last few minutes. We're just getting another delivery in. Swindon have had the better ball into the box without anyone really being able to get on the end of anything yet, and Notts County haven't really had any spells where they've kept the ball for any length of time and posed any threat. I know we're only early doors though.
And no goals so far in the game between Swindon and Notts County. Swindon top home goal scorers in this division with 37 so far. Have Swindon threatened at all, Paul?
Yeah, they have. Simon Ferry just had an attempt. It was across from the left-hand side. A defender just got a touch on it, and when it did, it fell for Ferry, hit the shot, the defender blocked it. It came out to Tommy Miller, and he pulled his shot just wide of the mark. But, I mean, I can't believe how much good football both sides are playing. I don't know whether Chris Kiwomya has changed the style of play, but they're taking a lot of risks at the back, passing it almost on their own byline and very tight triangles, and they're taking risks. Whether that's going to cause them a problem in the long term in this game, I'm not sure. But a good game of football to watch, but Swindon with the better attempts.
Notts County having to defend against Swindon. Decent game when last we heard. What sort of pattern is it taking now, Paul?
Well, the pattern is it's all Swindon, because for when Notts County do have the ball, they play some nice triangles and, like I say, they try to play their way out. But the final ball, when it does go forward, never gets to its destination. It doesn't stick. Hence, they haven't had any opportunities going forward. Whereas Swindon have created all the chances, albeit not clear-cut ones. Alan McCormack just done great down the left-hand side, whipped a ball in. Nathan Thompson on the right side dropped a shoulder, fizzed one in. Can't quite get on the end of things at the moment, but they look more threatening, Swindon.
Back to the county ground, shall we then? Last we heard it was all Swindon against Notts County. Is it still, Paul?
Yeah, it's still the same, because they can't get out. And because of the risks they take, they lose the ball in their own half, and Swindon are straight at them. And Andy Williams picked the ball up on the right-hand side after they'd just robbed the ball in midfield, played it out, got fouled by Sheehan, and then Gary Roberts whipped a decent free kick in. They're having lots of the ball in and around the Notts County penalty area, but can't quite get that clear-cut chance at the moment. But I just feel that Notts County are bringing a lot of it on themselves, because they just can't get out their own half.
Let's go and find out what's happening in some of the games that we can see, starting with the game between Swindon and Notts County. Can Notts County stem that Swindon tide, Paul? Well,
they've had a couple of breaks forward, because just as you come to me last time, Jeff, and I said they were bringing most of it on themselves by the way they're playing in their own half, they actually broke forward. Baku knocked the ball forward, and Bishop ended up getting fouled. About 25 yards out on the right-hand side, and then Sheehan steps up, was going for power, but nearly took it right over the stand with a pretty poor effort. And then Neil Bishop, again, just breaking in the box, got clattered by Foderingham, who come out from the cross that was coming in and wasn't convincing to try to punch in. I think he got most of Bishop on the way through. But there are signs of Notts County improving slightly as they're getting into the opposition half, but they haven't created any really good chances or anything, and it's still Swindon, slightly the better team.
Okay. Still, Swindon continue to come forward against Notts County. Paul Walsh.
Yeah, because Notts County were out a little bit and looking to go forward, as one or two gaps appeared, and Simon Ferry picked a great pass inside the full-back on the right hand, on Notts County's left-hand side, Swindon's right-hand side. Nathan Thompson got in. His first touch wasn't great. That narrowed the angle slightly for him. Hit the shot at the near post, but the goalkeeper made a fairly routine save. But it was a decent position that Swindon got themselves into.
One goalkeeper not covering himself with glory, but I think there is a goalkeeper at the county ground who's doing pretty nicely. The Notts County keeper, Paul.
Yeah, just made a very good save. Initially, it was Bakula fouled Roberts about 25 yards out on the left-hand side. And from that, Tommy Miller coming, just set it to the right-hand side. He struck it really well, kept it low, right down to his right-hand side. Very good save from Bialkowski, and that's probably the best attempt of the game so far.
Yeah, Bartosz Bialkowski, of course, formerly of Southampton, where a lot of people thought he would have a big future, rebuilding his career, if you like, right now at Notts County. And let's go to a goalless game at the county ground. Swindon top home goal scorers in this division with 37, but they've not won in their last 4 home games. I wonder if they're just getting a bit edgy as they get towards the finishing line in the promotion race. Paul Walsh?
Might be, Jeff, because they've had the better of the play, but as you come to me, Notts County actually just right in the final third looking to get a crossing, which hasn't happened too often. But they've created the better chances. They haven't been able to get that little bit of a lucky bounce or a good finish from somewhere. And whether that plays on their minds in the second half, we'll have to wait and see. But they've been the better team. But right on the stroke of half-time, we're still goalless.
And they are still playing in the game at the county ground, Swindon against Notts County. Any more opportunities, Paul?
Well, I guess one a corner. McCormack tried to whip across and it got blocked, went to the corner, but it's the worst corner I've ever seen, Jeff. He shanked it right up in the air and it went to the edge of the box where Notts County just headed it away. It would have been a great time to get a good delivery in, but it was a really poor corner and that let the situation down. Still goalless.
Let's go see how the second half has started at the game between Swindon and Notts County. Goalless first 45 minutes. Plenty of attacking intent from Swindon, but they've huffed and puffed and not been able to break the county defence down. Very early stages, I know, in the second half, Paul. Any opportunities, any pattern developed?
No opportunities, Jeff, but you can see the intent straight away with the way they started. It was Alan McCormack got on the ball, was very positive, went straight to the defender, ended up losing it, but you could see straight away they're going to go for it. I think if I was Kevin McDonald, you'd see that they're going to take chances, Notts County at the back. They're going to try and play their way out. If you can go and sit in on them and just nick it somewhere, you're going to get a chance. They were the better team in the first half, but they've just got to add that goal somewhere along the line to their performance of the first half in the second half.
Notts County conceded 6 goals in the last 9 games, and you can probably see why. I think there was a big penalty shout at the county ground. What happened, Paul?
Well, a big penalty shout for Andy Williams, but it wasn't for me. He's a big guy, went down quite easily. He just got eased out of it, but went over and sort of just elaborated on the dive a little bit, which didn't help him. But I didn't think it was a penalty. I think the referee made the right decision.
Another opportunity at the county ground, Paul.
Yeah, this is a proper chance. It was for Simon Ferry. The ball came in off the right-hand side, and it didn't have great pace on the cross, so he had to try and generate a little bit from his head, but couldn't quite get enough on it, so really troubled the goalkeeper, who made quite a decent save down to his right-hand side. But a good opportunity.
To take a set play to break the deadlock in the game at the county ground. Swindon have just had one. Paul Walsh.
Yeah, it's Alan Navarro who's drilled one over the top. It was Alan McCormack with a free kick, just set it to the side. He came onto it, hit it. It's been the same pattern as the first half, Jeff. It's been all Swindon. They've been making all the running. Just before that, Andy Williams made a very good run from out to in from the right-hand side. The pass coming from midfield just was a fraction too long for him. But they're knocking at the door. They just need that goal.
And still goalless in the game at the county ground. You just wonder the longer it goes on, whether Swindon might risk being caught on the break, Paul. Yeah,
well, Albert Tatlock won't be happy. That's Kevin McDonald. That was his nickname at Liverpool, Jeff. He can have a moan up, by the way, because they're having so many opportunities. Louis Thompson just hit a dipper. It took a slight deflection. I think they gave it a bit of topspin. It just dipped over the crossbar. He won't be. They're having, you can't be at home. You can't have this much of the ball in the final third and just not either hit the target a bit more often or the final pass being a bit better to give yourselves a chance. But they are knocking at the door, but it just takes that little bit of quality in the final third to make a difference.
Just at the county ground, we talked a minute or two ago about the prospect of Swindon getting caught on the break. They almost were, Paul.
Well, it was a delivery from the right-hand side and it got knocked down. Schwamney for a minute, once he got turned, I thought was going to get a strike in, and it came to Neil Bishop. By the time Neil Bishop got there, the keeper was flying out. There's a body in the way. It got blocked. But Kevin McDonald just hope it's not going to be one of them days where you have most of the game, most of the better situations, and then suddenly you get done on either a counter-attack or a set play.
Paul Walsh, who's watching events at the county ground, and the visitors beginning to threaten a bit, are they, Paul?
Well, they've had an attempt, Jeff. I can't tell you who got it because it broke so quickly. As a ball came across, he hit it very quickly from about 25, 30 yards, and Foderingham turned it over. It looked like it was going to dip underneath the crossbar. Turned it. I thought they've scored, just hit the crossbar. I think it was Shawam who hits the bar, And it was nearly one of them days I was talking about, Jeff, but a couple of great moments for them. The shot from distance, I can't give you the name of who actually hit it, but good save. And then just from that, as it's fell down, the attempt that's hit the crossbar from Schwamnu. So a little bit of panic in the Swindon defence at the minute.
A bit of danger for Notts County at the moment in the game at the county ground. What's happening, Paul?
There's a free kick, it's quite a way out, Jeff, and McCormack's coming over to take it. He's whipped a decent ball in so far today. He's given people a chance with his delivery. Schwamney's just gone off, and as Notts County have got more and more into the Swindon half, I would have thought they might have left him on because, you know, he was a spectator in the first half, but you get him ball in the box, he's a big guy, causes problems, but he's just gone off and Ben Sharif has come on. So free kick as we're speaking for Swindon, just don't want to stay where he takes it, it's just going to whip in, it's a good position, can make something from it, gone back post, but no, it's gone out for a goal kick, I think. Old corner.
Big groan from Paul Walsh. Think there was an opportunity. Which way, Paul?
Oh, it was a great defending as well. It was McCormack again on his right foot, knocked it in. James Collins, who's come on as a substitute, heads it. The goalkeeper makes a point-blank save on the line. It pops out, and there's another attempt that's blocked by the defender. And I just, as it dropped, I just thought, got to be a goal. But great defending. Couldn't see who was, got to cross him, but flew in front of him, got the block in, and saved a for certain goal for me. But still goalless. I'd love to be giving you a goal, but it's as good as we've got so far.
James Collins, top scorer with 16 goals this season, but spending too much of his time for his own liking on the substitutes bench at the moment. Time against Swindon Town as well, if they're going to break down Notts County, or is it Rwanda they're playing today? I'm not sure. I think it's Notts County, assuming that it is. What's the latest, Paul?
Well, Alan McCormack again, he's probably looked the most likely player to unlock the door. Again on the left-hand side, shaped up to cross it with his left foot, ducked inside his right foot, decided to go for goal, maybe a little bit selfishly because maybe there wasn't too many things on that he could see. But had to be dealt with, took a deflection, came out. He's just about to take a free kick, about 40 yards out. He's helping it in. Can they get on the end of it? But they have, but it's tamely into the goalkeeper's arms. Still goalless.
Back to the game that is deadlocked at the county ground. Swindon against Notts County. Swindon continue to probe away. Paul Walsh.
Well, I do. It's pretty much all them, Jeff. They had a couple of nervy moments that we've already spoke about. But other than that, it's just them been trying to go forward, trying to create an opening. You know, and it's just getting that final finish. It's a bit of the same old story, I'm afraid to tell you, but they've just got to get a bit of quality in the final third and finish something off, but they haven't managed to do it so far.
A shout of goal from the county ground, but it was a strangle shout, Paul Walsh.
Well, it had to be, it's Alan McCormack again, does absolutely brilliant. Comes in on his right side, shapes up to cross it, the defender goes for it totally, drags it back on his left foot, drills one across, and it came to James Collins, who's got a good contact on it. The goalkeeper's going the wrong way and somehow he saves it with his foot. Still goalless.
A point would be good enough to take Swindon up to above Brentford in the table at the second spot. They've got a far superior goal difference. Straight back, Bartosz Bialkowski said they thought he had a big future at Southampton, and he's just showing why at the moment, Paul.
Well, it's just the thing is, all the efforts are giving him a bit of a chance. That's the only problem. This one's a delivery in from the wide again, and he's got on it. Headed it, got in there nicely in a good position, but it's straight to the goalkeeper and gave him a chance. And Bialkowski's now full of confidence because of the saves he's been making, and he's actually having a good game.
Let's go back to the game between Swindon and Notts County. I think Notts County are going to settle for a point right now, don't you, Paul?
I think they'd be double happy with a point, Jeff, but I've just had a corner, funny enough, and you know, it was Foderingham again coming for it. Hasn't always been convincing, not that he's had that much to do, but when he came for it, just about got a punch on it, but managed to get it away. But they do have the occasional moment, Notts County. Haven't had many of them, but they're just breaking forward as you're coming to me. I've got to... why don't he take it on his... I don't know. He gets the pass in, Jeff. I'm just trying to say that was his Ben Sharif. If he lets that come across his body, he's got an attempt on goal, but he decides to pass the buck and try and pass it inside again. So still a couple of nervous moments for Swindon, but they should be 2 or 3 up.
And still, Swindon asked questions of the Notts County defence, Paul.
There's another cross in. The ball got headed out. DeVita picked it up, put it onto his right side, hit it, but he's tried to take the case off it, and in doing so, he's just pulled it past the near post. But another chance to maybe hit the target, and they didn't do it.
Pressing, Paul.
Well, it's still a relentless pace to game, so credit to the players for the way that they're still going right to the wire, but it's up and down, it's backwards and forwards, but even with Notts County giving themselves an outside chance of nicking something, but just as you're coming to it, it's Thompson just once again, just coming to whip it in there, sorry, McCormack, not Thompson, just looking to whip it in, get a final chance in the game, but it looks like Notts County are just going to hang on.
So, top of the table, I mentioned it was comfortable for Doncaster, and it is. 5 points clear. 7 games to go. Can Doncaster be back in the Championship. Brian Flynn in charge, of course, at the moment. Swindon go second on 67 points thanks to their far superior goal difference than the others, and that's despite the fact they were held today. Bournemouth up to third from fifth after a third straight win. They also have 67. Brentford didn't play today. They have 67, but have 2 and 1 game in hand on the sides above them, respectively. Sheffield United on 65, but they have 3 games in hand on Bournemouth and 2 games in hand on Swindon and Doncaster Rovers. Then come Yeovil back into the playoff places on 64. Tranmere play tomorrow at home to Stevenage on 63. They drop out of the playoff places as it stands at the moment. Walsall, Leyton Orient, they still have hopes, don't they? Just 3 points off the playoffs with 6 games to go. They've played more games than most of the sides above them, but still very much in with a shout on 61 points apiece. And Coventry fans will be disappointed today. They've just slipped back a little after their defeat at Portsmouth today. They still have 60 points, but they're down from 8th to 10th. Swindon into the top 2, Paul, but it was a frustrating afternoon for them in so many ways.
Oh, Kevin McDonald would be tearing his hair out. You know, they had so many good half chances. They were a better team in both halves. I've got to be honest, their best chances came in the second half when James Collins came on. He had a header at the back post. He had another shot, but he came up against a Bialkowski in good form. Although, you know, as I said at the time, they were efforts that gave him a bit of a chance to get something in the way of it. He may be slightly disappointed that he never finished it off, Collins. A couple of great chances. He had Darren Ward had a header. But having said that, Shawamnu had one good chance to hit the crossbar, but you know, they didn't really create enough going forward.
There was always a danger of this happening, though, wasn't there?
Well, this is I think this is it, yeah. And a good bit of defending on the line that took it onto the crossbar, actually. But and then the second one comes out and he pulls it past the post. But those moments were few and far between. McCormack was the best player on the pitch. And you know, there was again defending, people getting something in the way, and that was just frustrating them. They had the best chances all afternoon, and I'd have to go with Tony a little bit. I don't know if it's the division. This was another good chance. He was going the wrong way. Bialkowski manages to get something on it. Sometimes in the game, the final ball, that little bit of quality lacked for large parts of the game. But I mean, Ken McDonald reflect on that, look at them chances they had, and you know, be sitting there thinking, how did we not get 3 points today?
Interesting call, isn't it, when you're in that situation to leave your top scorer on the substitutes bench in James Collins?
Yeah, unless he thinks he's a bit better coming off later in the game when players are a bit tired and he finds that little bit of space. But yeah, it is a strange one because he's their top scorer, so don't quite. You know, I haven't seen him. He's a good judge, Kevin, so I wouldn't question anything he does. But it is a strange call, I suppose. But he came on. He certainly had the best 2 chances and was unfortunate not to score.
OK, finished goalless.
Now, as you can see, Sheffield United against Brentford. That was supposed to be the early game today. That one postponed. So this was an opportunity for Swindon to regain an automatic promotion place if they could get a result against Notts County at the county ground. But the game finished goalless in the second half. Notts County's Enoch Shawumni's effort was cleared off the line. Oh. Adam Rooney went close, but he was denied by Bartosz Bialkowski. Substitute James Collins then forced the keeper into a save with his leg. Minutes later, Darren Ward headed straight into the keeper's hands. Notts County held on for a third draw in 5.
Stuttering home form had led to jeers rather than cheers from their own fans recently, and Swindon may have been in for another earful had Wes Foderingham not prevented Alan Judd strengthening his League One Player of the Year nomination. County had only managed 1 win in their last 11 away league games, but Enoch Shawumni was inches away from putting them ahead from the resulting corner. Johan Arkin not quite as close on the follow-up. With Swindon top scorers in League One, the Magpies were always likely to need a good goalkeeping display, and Bartosz Bialkowski did well to keep Adam Rooney at bay. Alan Sheehan did even better to block James Collins on the rebound. The Robins had only failed to score in 1 of their last 10 league games, but couldn't find a way past the former Southampton keeper as Collins was again kept at bay. It's now no win in 5 on their own patch for the Reds.
It's another point gained. But as you say, we felt it probably should have been 3. I think I can count them maybe only having 1 proper chance the whole game.
Swindon knew that a draw or better in their home match against Notts County would give the Robins a lofty perch of second in the League One table come tea time. Swindon were looking for back-to-back wins, but they started slowly. This Nathan Thompson shot straight at Bartosz Bialkowski, as good as it got in the first half hour. But just before the interval, Bialkowski did have to be at his best to deal with Tommy Miller's powerful effort. The second half was much more entertaining though, and Simon Ferry was quick to test Bialkowski again after the restart, but once more the county keeper was on his toes. With only one win separating the playoff places, Swindon really couldn't afford to drop too many points, but try as Lewis Thompson might, he couldn't get his shot on target. Midway through the second period, the visitors woke up, and when Alan Sheehan's free kick eventually fell to Neil Bishop, he saw his drive smothered. But that actually seemed to give County impetus, and after good build-up play from Johan Arkin, Alan Judge came as close as anyone to beating Wes Foderingham in Town's goal. From the resulting corner, Jeff Hughes teed up Enoch Shawamni, but his header was deflected onto the Swindon bar by Andy Williams before Arkin shot wide. There then followed three great chances for Swindon to nick all 3 points. First of all, Alan McCormack's cross was well met by Adam Rooney, but Bialkowski was equal to it before James Collins saw his shot deflected over. McCormack was the architect again soon afterwards, but this time Collins' effort was saved by some sensational reflexes from the Polish goalkeeper. And then from the resulting corner 2 minutes from time, Darren Ward's header was also kept out by County's man of the match. So a point apiece enough to see Swindon climb to second, County stay in 11th.